So in case you don't know what the MDK project is, I'll summarize it to you in one word: a complete waste of money. The project costs $18,000, but it's just 3 days of torture. There's really no gain from it at all. I suppose maybe you'd look back at it and think, I'll never waste that amount of money again, but besides that, it's a complete waste of time. Now, it did get popular somewhat last year, but ever since then, it's kind of been on the quiet side. However, recently there was an amazing video release of it, and it really does summarize the entire project, so we're going to go through it.
Around, look at each other. Look to your left and to your right. More than 60% will not be here fucking Friday. I guarantee it. And I'll make sure of it. I'll make sure that you earn the right to be here every fucking second. Because I see in your fucking eyes that most of you don't fucking belong here. And I'll be damned, I'll take this fucking knife off my fucking waist and carve this fucking tattoo off my fucking hand before I let any of you fucking bitches show up here on Friday for the graduation. I see it in your fucking eyes already. Your fucking souls are mine.
So in case you didn't guess, he didn't cut the tattoo off of his arm, and he also didn't take their souls. Now, this character is a very prominent character in the kind of series, I suppose. He just shouts at everyone and degrades them. It's a very interesting technique for when someone's just paid you $18,000 to motivate them and to get their life in order. I feel like if someone was paying you this amount of money, you'd craft some sort of liquid gold and you'd give them every single bit of knowledge you know about how to improve your life. But instead, these guys are just shouting at them and calling them worthless, pretty much. Now, in my opinion, sure, maybe sometimes if you have a really close friend and they're looking a bit fat, you should say to them, you're packing a couple pounds, mate, come to the gym with me. Now, there is a clip that I want to show where they talk about why they degrade men in this course, and it's a really interesting take on it.
But men in a tribe do communicate that way, especially if they want to look out for one another. Because sometimes you need a friend to shit on you and to smack you around, to pin you against the wall and tell you what you're doing wrong when no one else is willing to do that to you because you're the boss, you're surrounded by yes men and yes women, you sign the front of the check for everybody and no one wants to talk at you. Men who care for you will.
Kind of a fair take there. He's basically just said what I said. Apart from the degrading that he's kind of claiming they do, is just way worse. It's not like they're pinning someone up against a wall and saying you're throwing your life away because you're playing too many video games. No, they're literally sat there spraying them with freezing cold water and just shouting mean names at them. That's it. And keep in mind, they've paid $18,000 for this experience. Now, I've garnered a couple clips together just to really summarize what these people are paying $18,000 for. Because if you're paying $18,000, you'd think that maybe they'd have some kind of next level equipment or some really good classes going on or some really amazing workshops where you can actually gain something from it. But no, they kind of just fuck about in mud and yeah.
Come on. I don't need to yell and degrade you. Come on. Just put out. Now start going down the hill. Give me your arm. Come on, brother. I got you. Let's go for a run. Go, get down there. Go. Go.
Taking a look at that, you could do that for completely free. I probably know a hill that looks kind of similar to that. And if I wanted to, I could crawl up it and then get thrown back down by a man standing over me. But I'd rather not do that because it's just a waste of time. I'm not going to gain anything from it. I'll just get muddy, maybe a bit sweaty. You'll probably get sweaty if you're like overweight, but what is the point in this? I genuinely do not understand it. Throughout the whole 75 hours that you're there, you crawl on the floor for probably about 40% of it. Now, the whole point of learning how to walk is so you don't have to crawl anymore. But for some reason, that is their obsession. Now, this second clip, you could most definitely do for free. Every single person, if you have access to water, can do this. Now, if this whole kind of experience was maybe like $50 for 3 days, I'd kind of understand it a little bit more. I think, you know what, fair enough, $50 really isn't that much. But no, $18,000 is $6,000 a day.
2, 3, 29. 1, 2, 3, 30. 1, 2, 3.
Hold that sledgehammer in the air, both hands. Like a bench press. Like a bench press.
Kill.
Kicking.
Why? You can do this in the gym for free. You can do it at home for free. You don't even need a gym membership. They are literally lying on their backs, Okay, they're kicking their legs up and down, which for the record is not a hard ab exercise at all. I could probably do it for like 10 minutes, and then they're just sat there with a sledgehammer holding it up like a bench press, and they're getting sprayed with cold water. What do you gain from that? Maybe it's like mental strengthening, but the fact that they've paid so much money is where the problem is. Now, you're probably getting a strong idea now as to why this project is just getting shut on all the time. It really is just businessmen taking advantage over these weak men and just charging them a crazy amount of money to make them feel like they're somewhat strong and cool. Now, when you look at their YouTube Shorts page, it's literally just tons and tons of clips of like brotherhood and being in a group and stuff like that. And if you really break it down, these guys are paying $6,000 a day just to kind of be friends and get close with people, which is just sad. I honestly feel like I could watch a couple self-improvement YouTubers, maybe people with like literally less subscribers than me, and I would gain more from them than paying $18,000 for this. Now, when you go on their website, they try to justify the $18,000 by saying it's just going to save you a lot more time and money if you pay it now and you go through this experience. I completely disagree. If someone has managed to save up $18,000 already, then clearly they don't need this project. They do kind of argue as well that suffering will make you a stronger man, which, yeah, it does. But if those experiences can be avoided, then they should be, because at the end of the day, you don't want to go through hard times. But this whole idea of this being a struggle and a challenge and really getting through it, it just twists your perception on thinking that you're better than you are when you're really not. And most of these men, as soon as they come out of this MDK project, they're going to think that they're someone that they're not. And as soon as they actually experience something difficult, they're going to look back at that time and think, oh shit, that was actually really quite easy. And now what I'm going through is a realistic problem. Now, there is a quote which I do quite like to agree with. It goes by, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. But this doesn't mean that you have to be constantly living in a hard time, or you have to actively go out and experience a hard time. Now, obviously that doesn't go to say that you should just go out there and experience life at full satisfaction, but you should allow yourself to enjoy life as well. You need to have a healthy balance. And I feel like with all this Sigma male shit nowadays, it makes people feel like their lives aren't hard enough, which is just ridiculous, because the whole point of it is you're meant to be improving your life, but it just ends up being a battle of whose life is harder. And this whole idea of having a tough life has just been glorified, which is just sad, because if you ask anyone who's had a genuinely difficult life if they'd want to go back to that time, they'd always say no. They definitely agree that they learned something from it, and they definitely say that they grew from it. But at the end of the day, the only reason why they grew is because they started to experience a good time. If we take Mike Tyson, for example, which I honestly think is the best example for this, the only reason why he is a good human being is because of Cus D'Amato. Now, Cus D'Amato was his trainer. He also was his adopted father as well. And that man taught Mike Tyson everything about life. Mike Tyson grew up with an extremely rough childhood. I'm pretty sure he got arrested 38 times before he was even 13 years old. So that shows more than enough. And if he hadn't started experiencing some good times and some good versions of life where he actually felt like he was working for something, he probably would have ended up just dying to someone else shooting him, or he would have just ended up in prison for life. The overall complete waste of money. I really do feel bad for anyone that has gone through this. You can learn everything that you have learned in this project online. And if you actually want to, a YouTuber that I highly recommend is Hamza. I don't agree with all of his takes about how men are put down in society and stuff like that. I don't agree with that. But I do agree with his self-improvement tips and stuff like that. Very solid YouTuber. A little bit bigger than me, not by much though. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.